Okay, let's get this straight. You're looking to rank up in Rocket League, and chances are, if you clicked on this video, you're probably struggling. But here's what you need to know. In order to actually rank up consistently, you need a breakthrough. And if you're sitting below GC, you might not know what that looks like or how to do it. Well, don't worry, because I'm gonna lay everything out that you need in order to actually achieve a breakthrough. Okay, but how do we actually start? Well, first, we need to self-assess ourselves. We need to get an understanding of where we are. And I don't mean by rank, I mean mechanically. And the reason we need to do this is because mechanics are the foundation of today's game of Rocket League. So when we're looking for a breakthrough, we need to be focusing on mechanics mostly. So first, gather what mechanics you can hit consistently and confidently, and actually perform in-game. And once we have that, we need to be looking for the next step up. So if you're able to consistently hit wall to air dribbles in-game, the next step up should be flip resets. Okay, you still with me? So now that we know what the next step up is, we actually need to put it in motion. And to do that, I'm going to show you how to practice your mechanic with this 3-step plan. Analyze, action, completion. Okay, so starting off with our first one, analyze, we need to find a tutorial or a montage where we can analyze somebody else doing our mechanic. And once you have that said video or montage, watch every little movement and micro adjustment that they do. But once we have the gist down of what they're actually doing, let's move on to the next step of action. And this is going to be our longest step because we have to do the mechanic. But there is a certain order to practice your mechanic. So when you're first starting to do your mechanic, I would recommend custom training just to get the initial movements down. Custom training will give you the quickest repetition, and it will allow you to get the base movements down. But once you're comfortable with the motions of your mechanic, do not stay in custom training. Move over to free play because you're going to have more variability. And the more variables that you have to overcome, the faster you're going to improve. And you're going to achieve that breakthrough quicker. But once you're finally able to do your mechanic in free play with no issues, it's time to move over to completion. And to achieve the completion part of this 3-step process, you need to be able to do your mechanic in-game somewhat consistently. So, how does this help achieve a breakthrough? Well, if you followed each step in this video and did it in-game, you should notice something drastically changed. And it's not just the new mechanic you learned. It's the way you move your car now. You should have a lot more control of your car and understanding how the ball works. And the point of this training was not just to add one more mechanic to your arsenal, it was to actually improve your overall car control. The next major step for a breakthrough is going to be rotating out into space and back post. And this is probably one of the most important things you could add into your gameplay, because rotating out to space or back post gives you leverage over your opponents. But you may be wondering, how does it actually give you leverage over your opponents? Well, let's take a look at this beautiful drawing that I made. And as bad as it is, I can still get the point across. So imagine that your red squares are your ops, and this one is you. And if you take a look at this yellow triangle I put in front of you, that's your options for your movement. So basically, that is what you're covering on the field. So when you are super close to your teammate and literally right on them, you're really not covering much. You basically just double commit with your teammate at this point. But now let me show you what it looks like when you get out into space. Wow, look how much more space you're actually covering. So my point is, when we're rotating, we need to rotate out wide into backpost and cover as much space as we can. Because if we think of this logically, look how much more options we have if the ball gets 50'd out. We can basically react to anything that our opponent does, which is why rotating out into space and backpost is crucial in wanting to have that breakthrough to rank up. And when you are rotating wide and into the backpost, we can pair it with pad rotations, which we'll talk about later in today's video. But if you're serious about improving and trying to get that breakthrough to that new rank, this is probably the best tip for you, because I feel like this skill is so underutilized in today's game. And this even ties in with mechanics. If you give yourself more space, you'll give yourself more options to work with later down the road. The next step I believe you should work on is speed. But what do I mean by speed? Well, it directly correlates to your mechanics and decision making. And this is the main thing that's going to separate you from people in your rank, which being faster than your opponents is going to be the fastest way to rank up in Rocket League. So now that we know what it is, how do we actually improve on getting faster? Well, let me be clear, it's not just moving around the pitch faster and using all your boost. It's being able to be comfortable enough and confident enough to be able to go for any ball without hesitation. So the first step to actually improving our speed is going to be so we're positioned out wide enough where we're not awkward. And yes, this is more inherently for second man, but it's still crucial because I see a lot of players being too close to the play thinking they're playing fast. And what they're actually doing is just waiting for the ball to come to them, and they're not taking any proactive steps to beat their opponent. So make sure you're out wide enough so you can carry your momentum to beat your opponent. But going on to the next step, it's going to be decision making. And the decision making I'm talking about is being able to make a split-second decision and following through with it. And a lot of people don't do this. They wait till the ball's in a position where they only have to make the one decision. So what we need to do is create our own destiny and make up our decision before our opponent does, so we're already going for the ball by the time they're done making their decision. And this exact thing right here separates people by ranks. So if you're watching this and you already feel like you're pretty adept mechanically, this is probably what you're missing out on. The next concept I would recommend is mentality. And if I'm being honest, 99% of Rocket League players struggle with this. And this is probably one of the hardest things to improve on because you literally have to change the way you think and feel about the game. And it's something that you're going to have to work on every time you play. And I would honestly say that Rocket League is 75% mental. And when people have poor mentality, it causes them to go down multiple ranks. I have done it, you've done it, everybody does it at some point. It's just limiting how much it actually happens. And the mentality that I preach is you're always doing something wrong. Even if you're down 0 to 10 and your teammate's AFK, you're still doing something wrong in the 1v2. Imagine this, you put Zen in your shoes and he's 1v2ing people in your rank. Do you think he wins that? And if I'm being honest, he probably wins all the way up until GC and above. So even when you think a game isn't your fault, you could still be doing something better. And actually putting this mentality into your game is actually a lot harder than it sounds. And that's why I said you need to do it every time you're on the game because people fall into the trap of always blaming their teammates. But moving on to the last concept of this video, it's going to be boost management and pad laning. Boost management is crucial if you're looking to rank up. Because when you actually have proper boost management, you shouldn't be stalling around waiting for boost and slowing yourself down. And yes, it does correlate back into speed, but it is its own skill. But it mostly ties into pad laning, which we'll get into in a little bit. But having proper boost management will let you go around the field at high paces for longer, which in turn helps you actually make more impact on the play. And so you might be wondering, how do I work on boost management? Well, honestly, there's really only two ways. And one of them you have to practice in free play, and the other you're just gonna have to mentally take note of. And starting with the free play one, all you're going to be doing is literally turning off unlimited boost in free play. And once you do that, I just want you to play bang ball and literally get used to not having unlimited boost in free play. And I would actually recommend trying to hit some more advanced mechanics without unlimited boost because that's going to make you consciously aware of how much boost you actually use when doing the mechanics. But boost management is one of those tedious things to work on, so you might not see improvement right away, but trust me, you're getting there. But for the second way to actually work on your boost management, it's going to be in-game. And this one's going to require a lot more mental effort while you're actually in the moment. But all you're going to do is when you're doing your mechanics, just try to feather your boost as much as possible, but also keeping your momentum up. But when you're actually doing this, you should be looking at your boost meter and see how much boost you're actually using and trying to see if you could use less or if you needed to use a little bit more. But once you finally start getting that recognition of whether you need to use more or less boost, you can finally start actually putting it into your car. But now let's move on to the last point of this video. It's going to be pad laning. And pad laning is extremely simple, and I've talked about it in my previous videos. There's two different pad lanes that I like to follow, and they're super useful. So getting into the first one, I like to call this one football because it genuinely looks like a football. And here, I'm going to pop it up on screen for all of you guys to see, but you guys should be hitting this pad lane every time you're rotating into a play or out of a play. And if you're able to put this football pad lane in your game, it will help you with your boost management and your speed, which will in turn help you win games and rank up. I actually learned about this pad rotation when I was around GC3, and it helped me tremendously. So if it worked and helped me at GC3, it will definitely work for you guys. But moving on to the most important and kind of the most efficient pad lane in the game, and you guys might be hitting it without even realizing it, it's going to be this diagonal pad lane. And this is by far the easiest pad lane you could hit in the game, and a lot of you probably already do it without realizing it. But if you're consciously able to grab this pad lane every time, you will have so much more boost to work with in your ranked games. And I feel like people usually tend to underrate pad laning in this game, but it is so important. And this isn't the same just to say pick up more mini pads. This is literally a pad rotation that you can follow in and out of the play. But if you follow all the steps that I gave you throughout this video, you should see a breakthrough and go up in rank. If you made it this far, comment Danielle in the comments below. But I just wanted to say that 93% of you guys aren't subscribed, so if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Also, I am starting to stream on Twitch. I stream 2 to 3 times weekly, so if you're interested in watching my streams or, even getting some viewer replays on there, be sure to follow my Twitch, and I also have my other socials linked in the description below. And I also do coaching on my Ko-Fi if any of you are interested in getting a one-on-one session with me. But with that, I want to thank you for making it this far. And one last thing before we go. Mwah.